Hello dear friends, as you probably know, the copyright directive was adopted, including Article 13 and 11, and it was a quick quote. Only a 5-vote margin made the complete directive to pass. That means from now on, member states have 2 years to introduce this directive as a law. So all the negotiations now between the media and online giants are starting, and the filter must be up. Everything's gonna be screened to stop the so-called copyright infringements. I'm following this Swedish journalist who has been interviewing Swedish members of the European Parliament, and many of them say they have been put under high pressure from different lobbyist groups. And the debate was controlled in a way that they said either you are for young creators or you're against them. And some of the politicians and members said that this is a very un-Swedish way of handling vote. This is so naive, my god. So you see there was quite a strong lobby. They even made some video on YouTube. Suspected high views rates and high like rates, and the dislikes were zeroed out every morning. But that's how they control the debate. Either you're for young creators or against them. All kind of debate of censorship and all the kind of ambiguity when it comes to Article 13 and 11 was kind of just shoved under the carpet. So many people in Europe now understand that this is not so good. But most of them, they don't understand why is the European Union in such a hurry to introduce censorship. Why is it? Why did they push it through so hard? And of course, you, the viewers of this channel, you know the answers to that, but some of you maybe that are new, you just know that this is not good, it doesn't feel right, but you don't know why. This is what this video is about. So many channels have been removed and censored on YouTube, and including one of my first channels, but many of the people I know on YouTube who will be covering the same topics have been closed down. And why are they closing down all of this channel? Because corruption is being exposed. If you click on the wrong video and you spend 5 minutes looking on a well-made video, you can lose total confidence in the complete system, in the complete society you're living. And that's when the danger is. And that's why the censorship has to kick in as soon as possible. I'm gonna give you 3 top reasons why they are in such hurry to censor and put on this gridlock on the internet and control all the content that's being uploaded. So one of the big ones is about NASA, the fraudulent NASA, and they're losing confidence. Wow, they're just plummeting. And if you just look at some of the videos from the ISS, take this one for
I don't know,
instance,
we're gonna have to do something for you.
where they're faking their activities in space. They have wires.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Oh, you see that? You saw that? Oh, they had a wire. There's so many videos.
I
This
don't know,
is
we're
just
gonna
one
have to do
example.
something for you.
We have many examples of this. Why is this important? Okay, first of all, it might be a shock to you. Okay, ISS doesn't exist. They're faking it. But there's another, how to say, consequence of that. NASA is behind the science of climate change, and European Union is behind climate change 300%. So if all the science comes from NASA and NASA is a fraud, then you understand that EU is also a fraud. So here you see the temperature rise, and wow, we're just getting so hot. Look at that, it just went from blue to red. This is NASA science. Such a joke. And if you just click on the right video, You just see 1 5-minute video, you're gonna lose total confidence in these jokers. And that's what the danger is. This material needs to be removed from internet. You just start to look at it and everything just falls apart. Like with the, this is the moonlander when it takes off back to the Earth. And they just left the camera guy behind to film it. Who filmed it? There's so many examples out of this. So you can just destroy NASA in a couple of minutes. And then there is this other subject which is related to climate change. It's the chemtrails, solar radiation management. They're saying it doesn't exist, it's a conspiracy theory. But let's have a listen to one of the main geoengineering scientists, what he has to say.
Different ways.
Explain to me, first of all, though, before we get into the pros and cons of it, how solar radiation management might work.
So conceptually, it's simple. The Earth is in some kind of balance where we absorb sunlight and we radiate it away as infrared, and what CO2 is doing by warming the climate is making it harder for that infrared to get out. If you reflect away a little more sunlight by adding reflective aerosols, tiny particles, say, to the upper atmosphere.
And how do you do that?
You could do it with aircraft, for example. But doing it is probably not the hard part, but you could use aircraft or other methods to deliver literally tons or millions of tons of very small particles to the upper atmosphere.
One way, sort of spraying them out at a high altitude.
Correct. And one thing this does is to mimic what volcanoes do, at least in some crude way. So large volcanoes put sulfur into the upper atmosphere, and those...
So he basically explains how chemtrails can be used. So it just validates that it does exist. Solar radiation management does exist. But then when he got asked the question about chemtrails, this is the answer he gives.
People appear to believe a wide range of things, but broadly that elements of the US government are spraying toxic chemicals, sometimes claimed to be barium or aluminum or various other chemicals claimed, sometimes claimed to be from commercial aircraft. And then the hypothesized reasons for this are mass culling of the human population or mind control. There's a variety of them. So from my point of view, to be blunt, this is a completely baseless conspiracy theory. I have no reason to, and I've seen no evidence, despite actually taking time, my own time, to look for it, that there's any there. So
you see the dissonance there. So in one interview, he explains that it does exist, scientists want to use it, and then when somebody calls it the same thing and just calls it chemtrails, he just says it's a crazy conspiracy theory. So of course, this chemtrail, this SRM program has been active in many years. And this is just falling apart. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it who's been looking into these questions. So this is one of the other topics that is kind of on fire, that needs to be censored. And then we have one of my dearest topics that my first channel was about the PSYOPs, the psychological operations. And it's the same thing here. You see one video, 3 minutes later, you're gonna start questioning everything in your society.
Basically, I was on the way to film a university project, and we just got to Westminster Abbey, where a load of armed police officers jumped out of cars. I would say maybe 50 of them or so, and I basically thought it was a training exercise which they'd been doing all week. I would say maybe 50 of them or so, and I basically thought it was a training exercise which they'd been doing all week.
Yeah, training exercise which they have been doing all week. Yeah, it's a bust.
Financial district.
One would expect issue. Today we were running an exercise for a company, bearing in mind I'm now in the private sector, and we sat everybody down in the city, 1,000 people involved in the whole organisation, but the crisis team, and the most peculiar thing was we based our scenario on the simultaneous attacks on the Underground and mainland station. So we had to suddenly switch an exercise from fictional to real. And one of the first things is, get that...
So the confidence is just falling apart. The risk of people seeing this video and this getting a wide spread is just too devastating for the system. So the censorship has to come in fast, and it needs to come in hard. And that's what just happened in the European Union, in the European Parliament. So for all of you who didn't know, now you know. And enjoy and look for this information while you still can. There's still a lot of good videos. Big majority of it has been removed, but it's still a lot of good material to be found. Make use of the time. That's all. Thank you and good night.